So I woke up at 4 a.m. I don't usually, and I was wide awake. And I'm never wide awake. I'm not wide awake right now. And
Excellent.
I started looking on Kickstarter books first and games that were high performing, like broke $1 million. There's not a lot of.
No, it was a short search.
There are a couple ingredients that they seem to have that we don't have, or that maybe we do, but I don't know if we have it or not. You know, the emotional experience was more curious than anything. That was the eclipsing emotion. I was interested. How is this gonna turn? What's gonna happen? So,
you are an optimist.
that's not to say it's gonna turn out.
No, sure, yeah.
It's just I want to know.
Yeah.
And the I want to know is bigger than any other thing. This is The Green Ember Goes Forth, Episode 2. I'm Zach Franzen. We're documenting the run up to our Kickstarter launch. The Kickstarter gathers money for the story Green Ember, Helmer in the Dragon Tomb, which will release as both a novel and a video game. And today we finally get to hear from Andrew McKay.
Almost made myself too much coffee.
Andrew has been with Story Warren since the beginning, before it was a company, back when it was just a blog. Andrew is kind, pleasant, and hardworking, but in his words,
I'm the pessimist of the team. I am the one who operates on it's all gonna go away. So when I'm a bummer, just know it's my job. I am professionally a bummer.
Despite the gentle imprint of Appalachia on his speech, Andrew is super Canadian, with the kind of allegiance that grows from a distance. As we talk, curling, the sport, it's a sport, I guess, plays on TV.
Without the hammer, Canada's lying too, which means things are going great for Canada and not so great for our homeboy, Nicholas Edine.
Week after week, Andrew balances operations between Story Warren, a book publisher, and Longtreader Games, a video game company. He's a bit like Philippe Petit, the Highwire artist. Philippe was the one who walked between the twin towers of the World Trade Center in 1974.
Philippe Petit, a 24-year-old Frenchman, doing his higher wire act 1,350 feet up and no net below.
Others have walked higher and farther, but Petit's stunt stands out for two reasons. First, it's dramatic, because the planning and execution of the event feels a little like a heist.
He and some associates managed to hide out in the World Trade Center towers overnight.
And secondly, the simple geometry is easy to understand. 2 boxes, a line in between, on the left of the wire, death, on the right, also death. Now, to my knowledge, Andrew has never walked a high wire, but every day he balances competing forces on a very narrow path. On his left is Story Warren.
We have a very small but healthy recurring business selling books. That's the core of what Story Warren does. It's people buy books, we continue to make payroll.
On his right is Longtreader Games.
Longtreader Games is the result of some generous backers and some big dreaming on the part of our team. We needed help to start, and then we need the audience's help to get across the finish line.
The challenge is to execute operations on the narrow path that serves both entities.
How do you get Longtreader and Story Warren right? These are not the same thing.
This subject is fascinating, it's compelling from the inside, but it's kind of boring from the outside. So let me lay out 3 quick distinctions relevant for the Kickstarter. First, the planning and budgeting priorities for each are different.
Does Longtreader sell a book to this customer, or does Story Warren sell a book? Where does that revenue go? How does that revenue behave?
Secondly, the audiences are connected, but they're not identical.
We're all aware that some percentage of the book-loving audience, some percentage of that audience is going to roll their eyes when they hear the word video game.
Also, thirdly, even the art needs are different.
You can see it visually, like the visual development of the art for the cover versus the art for the video game. We're in 2 different worlds.
Now, I'm the illustrator of the Green Ember book series, and Andrew makes a great point. The primary purpose of the art in the books is to evoke a classic feel. The primary purpose of the art in the video game is to telegraph orientation and movement. The art has a different job in each medium, and these competing needs each have a pull. and it's difficult to walk across the narrow middle.
It's so hard to tell two stories at once. I'm pretty sensitive to that. I feel like a lot of times how we win is asking people to do one thing. And every time we're asking people to decide among many options, what people decide is, I got other things to do with my time.
Now, we really haven't found a way around telling two stories at once. The novel and the video game each have their own demands. They compete with each other. SD Smith, who is working on both, is stuck in the middle.
Potential conflict that I haven't even raised over the last 2 days is yesterday was the deadline for the manuscript, but I don't have a manuscript. In some other world where we weren't the way we are, we would have had this manuscript locked a year ago. And then we would have started the video game, and then we would all be marshaling our forces together for the marketing challenge that's ahead of us. Instead, we have a manuscript that got completed probably finally about a month ago and has bounced back and forth against the video game story. And it's all being shepherded by one person. But still, there have been moments where like, oh, how does that reflect in the game?
The plot.
Even the core plot things, right? All of that means we have not had a locked video game story or book story until very recently. And we don't have a locked manuscript.
Now, on the one hand, Sam has manuscript deadlines. On the other, he has Kickstarter deadlines. So right now, the Kickstarter needs have more immediate pull. The video we're doing is the pitch for the product, and Sam feels the need to get it right.
Shooting videos and trying to do a good job at it is often one of the most stressful, like acutely stressful things that we do.
So I'm in SD Smith's living room. Lights are set up in the corner. Josiah, the CEO, and Sam's brother helpfully gathers kids in the room and makes sure that Sam has a paper script to consult. Everyone's a little fidgety. The room is filled with nervous energy. Sam's son, Josiah Caleb, to distinguish him from his uncle, is talking through the shot.
I was thinking we get you like coming in the door and like kissing mom and all that, but maybe let's just do this walk first and then we can film that after.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
All right.
And there's some quibbling over Sam's script, what he wants to say, how he wants to say it. And that's a worry, that something will go unsaid, the words will come out in the wrong combination, or that some flaw in video production will cause folks to tune out. These concerns thread throughout the day.
We're still like growing and still trying to get better at storytelling.
We're okay at it. We're getting better at it in a lot of ways, but it's hard. I mean, how many authors talking in front of a camera have you found riveting?
There's a lot of care over the words.
I like that. That's what we have, but he's saying introduce more peril by saying
There's concern over the energy levels.
memory making, darkness shaking. These are soul shaping, memory making, adventurous stories that you inhabit. These are soul-shaping, memory-making, darkness-shaking adventures.
We're making a game. A video game.
I feel like it's not enough energy.
I think you have a spectrum.
Somebody might have said, and I'll claim it, even though it wasn't me, that it was approaching Bill Murray. I love kids. Kids are the best.
I'm gonna adopt any of them for adoption.
I love you guys. And Josiah Caleb has footage to edit quickly.
You think you'll be done editing the videos in 10 days?
10 minutes.
In the next few days, Sam puts the finishing touches on the manuscript, and then we move on to the next set of challenges. Now, all of this work is happening at a steep incline, and it'll probably make you ask, why not stick to books? Why do a video game at all? Well, we think there are 3 reasons. Now, first, the most highfalutin reason, video games are an artistic, cultural medium. They require art and storytelling and acting and programming and music. It's not unlike grand opera. All sorts of ingredients have to mix together in the right amounts to serve up something hospitable. We want to create something with biblical assumptions about the world that takes place in the moral universe of classic literature and that has a love for permanent things. That's our galvanizing desire. To tell the truth beautifully. Secondly, we want to build a bridge to literacy. Now, this project is one story. It's in two forms. Books and games are not interchangeable, and we think that kids who play the game will want to read the book to live with the story in a different way. If you have a reluctant reader, chances are high that you're getting desperate. Publishers and mainstream bookstores are largely abandoning middle grade literature, particularly boy readers. They're shelving less, they're firing their book buyers, they're carrying less in hardback. Most publishers view boy readers as unshakably reluctant.
And there was an editor too, Sola Christodoulou.
Yes, she mentioned not having worked on a single book with a teenage boy as the main character in the last 4 years.
4 years.
The books you're likely to find are irreverent, silly comic hybrids. Now, we haven't abandoned middle grade readers or boy readers, and we have been delighted to hear from parents who say this series turned their reluctant reader into an avid reader. We hope the book and game combo of Green Ember, Helmer and the Dragon Tomb reminds readers, particularly reluctant ones, that everything they like about video games has a home in books. Quests and acquiring skills and aggression channeled to a noble end and risk and reward. And these are in our books, yes, but not just our books. They're in King Arthur and Robin Hood and Treasure Island and so on, and we want to be the staircase to those adventures. That's the second reason. Now, the third reason, kids want to play in the world of the Green Ember. We have a decade's worth of stories and pictures and kids donning rabbit ears and wooden swords. Kids play the Green Ember in their backyards, in their living rooms. They send drawings and stories and toys. We love that, and we think it's valuable. And in stories, assumptions matter more than assertions, right? Stories give a vision of the good and of the bad, but immersion tools, the things that help you play, those give the stories greater penetration. So things like necklaces and swords and coloring sheets and songs and rabbit ears. And we have been doing immersion tools since the first book. We want to help kids play the Green Ember. We're excited to give a new way to play the Green Ember. So that's the third reason. That's why we're working hard, stretching ourselves. Will other people find these reasons compelling? Don't know. We're walking the wire, trying to get from A to B without falling. So the clock is still ticking. In the next few weeks, we're building content and marketing material. We have to enlist partners to get the word out. We're putting one foot in front of the other until our Kickstarter launch day. I hope you'll join us.